Some massive changes have dropped this week when it comes to the wholesaling real estate industry. NAR is in some big trouble. And I can tell you this, there's going to be some big changes, some really good changes for wholesaling real estate that we have to talk about that really no one's ever talked about this. And so unless you've been living under a rock, some big news has dropped. And we're excited to talk about it, break it down, and really share exactly what's going in. So NAR, my favorite company in the world, but best organization ever. Love them. They our last update was some massive lawsuit happened, and they settled, and some massive changes are happening in the wholesaling real estate game. So what we're here to do is explain exactly what's going on, how this is going to benefit wholesaling. I only see kind of one or two cons with this that we got to talk about and really see how we can adapt so we can make more money in wholesaling real estate. Now, you know me and Rick Ginn, us. We don't say game changer or massive change unless we truly can put our words behind our actions. Yep. And this is one of them, okay? Last one I said about game change was with Deal Machines, Unlimited Skip Tracing, DMZech.com. The other one before that was AI, and this is one of the biggest ones. And so it is not an understatement to say this is the biggest change in generally, not for wholesaling, but generally in the real estate industry in the past 40 years. Outside the 2008 crisis, this is probably one of the biggest changes to happen.
Yeah,
and some massive things, right?
And it's why it's important why we do live streams, because I don't have to edit it. I don't have to record it. We just throw it out to you as it's happening live. So just, you guys, this is 100% live. You can test me on it, but it's important that you guys get live streams so you can get the best up-to-date information. So easy to sit in a studio and make perfect tailored stuff and throw it out there. But we like the human interaction of it. So NAR, yeah. So NAR is just a acronym for National Association of Realtors. And they basically been chased down for a long time, and they finally got nailed. They got caught. And so unless you've been living on a rock, basically when you go to list a property, the typical one's 5 to 6%, usually 6%. And that is for the listing agent. And then they agree to split it with the buyer's agent. And that's it. So the new rules are in effect. And basically it takes the right away from being able to pay the buyer's agent through MLS. And honestly, realtors are in shock. If you haven't been around the dinner table, gone out anyone that you know are realtors, everyone's reaching out to them like, are you okay? Are you okay with this lawsuit? I'm here to tell you they're not. There's going to be really, really big changes. And here's the best part of it. For once, it is actually a benefit to wholesalers. And we're
some big ones.
And we're going to use today's live stream to walk you through the benefits. Now, I've looked at all sides of this, from the realtor side, from the home buyer side,
mortgage broker side,
from the underwriting side, and then most importantly, our side as the wholesalers. I'm telling you, this is excellent news for us. Here's the reality, guys. Realtors have been stuck in a perpetual market with no changes on a default mode for the last 50 years. Take today's technology, what you can do. Realtors are so old school how you have to sell a realtor that there's no creativity. Everything's set. You can't do this. And they talk about their high ethics and everything like that. This is the reason I'm not a licensed realtor, guys. I am not going to have big boss come down and tell me what to do. And most of you that have found us through wholesaling, you want to write your own rules. You want to get your financial freedom. Honestly, this ruling is reason number one why you shouldn't get your realtor license. Sorry. Because this stuff happens. They tell you what you have to do and you have to adhere. Otherwise, there's major consequences.
Some big things happening. So let's just talk about, first and foremost, what's going on. So we've seen a lot of pressure in the wholesaling real estate industry in the past year, I guess you could say, with wholesaling laws, right? I did FYI. Let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room about wholesaling laws, regulations, because I don't know who's been talking about this. But I've gotten more DMs than anything about this. Oh, we got this law, this law, this law, this law, this law, blah, 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 blah. And the worst thing is I get, wholesaling's toast, wholesaling's banned. You can't wholesale here, there, or there, right? My favorite thing in the world. And so last week, I got so heated. Okay, I'm a pretty chill dude, but I got heated, and I said, screw it. Let's go break down every single bill, law, introduction about wholesaling real estate laws. Okay, and basically what I ordered it just for freewholesaling.com, but I said, you know what? Some people are too lazy even to go into freewholesaling.com. So basically what I did was I streamlined and broke down every single wholesaling ban, law, regulation, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Whatever you want to call it. These ads are so weird.
It's crazy.
It's creepy. But basically I went up here and I have broke down every single law, regulation, whatever possible.
You mean you actually read it?
I read it. I showed it.
You can go on the internet and like watch 1,000 videos and get everybody's opinion. Guys, everybody has an opinion, but at some point you have to read it and determine it for yourself how it affects you instead of just somebody said, I heard so-and-so said this. Guys, you just got to get the truth. We're all about giving you the truth. And this is what Zach broke down here.
Yeah. And so I've explained all these laws. I've broken them all down. What does wholesaler mean? I believe this was the Iowa one. I'm not sure. But like, for example, this law says wholesaler. So you say wholesaling is illegal, right? Wholesaling, in their definition, is the practice of entering into an assignable contract for the purpose of marketing and selling it. Oh, technically, if you're double closing, you're not doing that. So boom, not wholesaling, right? And so like I get people asking live, oh, Iowa, it's over, man. It's over, man. It's over. Just double close if you have to. But their definition of wholesaling is you doing it for the purpose of selling it. Purpose is to double close, and you could switch purposes. I'm just like telling you guys, I've said this from the get-go. I've said this from the start in wholesaling real estate. And now we're going to break down this NAR thing. But there's a reason why. You cannot ban people from assigning contracts. That is unconstitutional. And I've talked to other wholesalers that many people know about, and pretty much everyone's in agreement. That is constitutionally protected. Now, there's been 0 states in the past 3 years that's done anything about this. Now, Illinois has this weird law. It's never been enforced because it's unconstitutional. But outside of Illinois, which was the only law that was the first one they've done, there's been nothing to stop people from wholesaling. Nothing. Like when it comes to the actual wholesaling process, nothing. South Carolina, Indiana, it's you can still wholesale pretty much regular. I kind of break down exactly what changed a little bit, but like it's not crazy. And NAR's been putting pressure on wholesaling. And here's the problem. NAR's like, ban wholesaling, right?
Yep.
Dang it, we have a constitution.
Yep.
Oh, man. And that's the problem. And so when I get more comments, I see these all the time. Oh, wholesaling's banned. Wholesaling. There's not been one law. Show me where the assignment of contract is banned. Show me one law. Heck, let's talk about straight up. Has there been one law saying you cannot assign contracts? Not one. Not one.
No, you
and
can't.
So can we just shut up about the laws things? Everyone's freaking out, flipping out. Go leave. It's more wholesaling deals for me to do. But NAR's been putting pressure. They're putting pressure because they're going to be almost put out of business here. And they're very scared for real estate agents to go into wholesaling. This is their biggest fear. Oh, yes, there is Oregon. Bro, homeboy. If you read the Oregon law, go watch the video and read the thing I already talked about Oregon. This is pretty simple stuff, guys. Let's break down the Oregon one. Actually, no, I'm going to get in a whole rant here. Oregon is if you're only wholesaling, yes, you need the license. If you are doing other things outside of that, you're good to go. So that Oregon bill is the stupidest one. It's pretty stupid. And so people get on their high horses. And so just really quick here, since I got some of the Oregon's banning the assignment of contract. So I'm just going to get specific examples here, and then we're going to in this, okay? So I'm really trying to stop people freaking out. Residential property wholesaling is to advertise the contract with another person or solicit purchasers to purchase the property. Residential property means this. So an individual so residential property wholesaling is the act, okay, of advertising your contract to another person or entity, or solicit them to buy either publicly or privately. That is it. Okay? An equitable interest. Now, if you're selling the house, you're double closing, you're good to go. And so the assignment, but here's the thing about this law. Assignment of contract, no, it's the advertising of the assignable contract. So if your cash buyer says, Zach, do you have any deals? Yeah, I have deals. Can I buy them? You want to buy my deals? I'm not advertising. Well, can I do an assignment of contract? I wasn't advertising this, but if you want to buy them, I guess so.
Simple, guys. You just got to read it.
You can assign a contract. You can't assign bro, shut up. Dude, I just showed you. It says you can't do residential property wholesaling if you are advertising. The act of doing the assignment of contract, you're going to go. There's always
you can't mess with it.
You can't mess with it.
The banks do it. Insurance companies do it. If they outlaw it, it would cease business in America. There's a reason there's American flag behind it. You guys got to start like reading stuff. Politicians pass statutes that make no sense. So I'm not going to get into the mechanics of it.
Not a wholesaling law.
Yeah. So you guys aren't stopped. You're just they're putting some obstacles in front of you. Get resourceful. If you're not used to it as a wholesaler, you're going to have to. We are not your traditional realtors. We're not setting our rules for 50 years and then, oh my God, my boss is telling me to make a change. We adapt every day. And part of this today is to go over the NAR and show you how this is going to affect us.
So first and foremost, I just want to stop all the wholesaling is done stupid stuff. Okay. Are we done with the fear mongering? Are we actually going to go out here and make some money or not? Thank you. So find me one guy. There's not one on the assignment of contract not working. So frankly, just be quiet if you don't have any facts. So I show you the facts. Go to wholesaling.com. It's right there. Okay. So stop freaking out. So let's talk about NAR. All right. The reason I kind of start with that is because NAR's scared of wholesalers coming in here and actually real estate agents going out here and becoming realtors. They're scared. So let's do this. National Association of Realtors. This is from NBC News. This is the article everyone sends me. NAR settlement means for consumers and brokers. So let's kind of break this down and see what is going on here. So a groundbreaking $418 million settlement announced Friday by the powerful National Association of Realtors is set to usher in the most sweeping reforms that American real estate market has seen in a century. So let's kind of read a little bit about this, and we're going to give what we think and our thoughts on this. So it could dramatically drive down home buyer costs. Oh, that's terrible. And push some real estate brokers out of business. Even worse. Come on. Here's a look. So what's going on? For decades, NAR has required home sale listing brokers, so listing agents, to provide an offer of compensation to a buyer's agent up front. This usually comes to about 6% split between the seller's broker and the buyer's agent. This model has come under intensifying scrutiny from critics who have likened it to our cartel. Are they wrong? I don't think so. Late last year, a jury in Kansas City federal court found that the long-standing practice to be formed of collusion that artificially inflates real estate fees, awarding a massive $1.78 billion judgment against NAR. So let's talk about what that means. So a cartel. So FYI, a cartel is not a south of the border type thing. That's not the definition of what a cartel is. A kind of a monopoly that controls an industry, right?
You pay 6%.
You pay 6%.
Or else.
It's like a mafia.
Or else.
So that's what if you look at the legal definition of a cartel, all right? If you really look at the legal definition of a cartel. So that's what they're being likened to because they were doing that. They basically say, buyer, you're getting 3% of this. So that is unfair. That is not a fiduciary responsibility to your client, right? Because you're only going to show 3%ers. You're going to show no 2.5%ers. And I know everyone says, "Oh, well, I'm a realtor. I'd never do that." You say that. And at the end of the day, what have I always said about realtors? Their number one priority is their commission. That is it. That is it. Because if realtors really love commission, they really cared about their clients, they would only do 1% and give the 2% to their clients on the HUD to make them better. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they would do. Guess what? Are they doing that?
Nope.
Nope. Care about their commissions. And so this is what it's all about. All right. And so it has been found that that is price fixing, and that is technically illegal according to law. And we've called them monopoly forever. You can't even sell a house without going through NAR. It's insane. So what changes now, right? If the settlement announced Friday is approved by a federal court, it says, I don't think it's been approved yet, FYI, so it has to be approved. Sellers would no longer have to make compensation proposal to sellers would no longer have to make a compensation proposal to prospective buyers and their agents. Critics have encouraged brokers to push their clients towards more expensive properties. That's what I've been saying. And I know that for a fact, okay? Now, the new rules will kick in within months of approval, currently expected around mid-July. Now, what about the next few months? I don't think anything's going to change the next few months. There's uncertainty, all these things, predictions. We see some creative buyer or agent arrangements that make it harder to get some traction. And basically, home buyers and agents will need to sign on commissions and put in writing. Sellers likewise will need to work carefully with their listing agents under the new rules. And so what do you think is going to happen with that specific thing?
Well, it's a lot to unpack. So what's going to happen with it? So number one, they haven't finalized all the implementations. So the one thing I know is the buyer's agent is not going to be listed on the MLS. It's not even part of it. So honestly, it really opens everything up to free competition, free trade, which is what all America is about. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you're not prepared for this, it's going to be extremely overwhelming. My prediction is your typical home buyer that doesn't want to know the first thing about real estate. They don't know what the average costs are. They don't know how to do it. They're going to be in trouble because they're going to be presented so many options. They don't know which way to go. And I think those people are going to get hit the worst. The people that are most educated, which AKA wholesalers, I think we're going to benefit the most. And the bottom line, guys, is there's going to be massive changes. So hopefully we can break down and go through detail and just talk about how it affects the realtors, the wholesalers, the underwriting process. And honestly, we can talk about how it affects the home buyers. Because guys, in the end, our product always usually winds up to the end user. We're just the middleman, middle woman. And that's not a bad thing, but you've got to know what the final effect is, especially because you're cash buyers. Because now your cash buyers are going to be like, okay, how do I do this? This is another great opportunity for us to educate and help out our cash buyers so we can move product much more quickly, because I think they're going to get confused on how to price stuff too. So it's going to have a big impact. I would love to talk about the impact on NAR because it's going to be really tough on them.
So what is it saying for the consumers in the long run here? So changes mean buyers will save on commissions,
save money,
bringing U.S. fees more in line with much transaction costs around the world. Heck, even if you look at commercial real estate, which doesn't really have like a NAR type stronghold, commercial properties are listed on like LoopNet, other sites, and
highly creative, and everything is negotiable right up to the last minute.
Commission's like, if it's $100 million property,
it can be from 0.5% to 4%.
Yeah.
And every time, so guys, when you buy a commercial property, they've already done this for the last 50 years, is you have to disclose the agreement. And usually the buyer and the seller's already set basically what NAR is going to model, but the buyer gets to negotiate what fee they want to pay. Sometimes, very rarely a flat fee, but they can go anywhere from 0.25% up to 2 to 3%, and it affects the contract. So an eager seller wants to incentivize them a great property. Sometimes they don't even compensate the buyer's agent. And this is the model. It's already been there. It's been there forever. And NAR, this is where they got nailed because they monopolized their market and they wouldn't adapt with change. So I like it because the strong's going to rise. And the people that are just hanging on, getting giant commissions for very little work, bye-bye. You can't do it anymore. It's just not going to happen.
So some big changes are happening. Basically, new rules would lead to commissions falling 25 to 50%. Woohoo!
Good Lord.
I like that.
Yeah.
And benefiting online real estate brokers. But he warned it's too early to declare the end of local real estate agents, given their local blah, 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 blah. Skip that. You can read this article too, but
I told you buyers are going to be the uneducated buyer, the person that buys 1 or 2 homes their entire life and never want to deal with it. They don't know what interest rates are. They don't know what the going rate in that neighborhood is. They don't understand inspections. They are going to be most vulnerable because
but here's the thing. They're also most vulnerable to what the realtor has to say. This is a good deal.
Correct.
Oh, it's a good deal? Yeah, I'm getting 10%. It's a good deal for me.
Yeah.
That's what realtors do. It's a good deal for me.
So I like that they're going to get full transparency, but the problem is you can give transparency, but if you don't know what you're looking at, I think eventually that person's going to wind up paying the full fare. They're just going to have to sign a bunch more paperwork. And because the realtor's all going to be like, I'm going to cover, if I have to do everything for you, I'm going to cover my butt. So the days of you just calling a real estate agent, go, can you take me out and show me like 15 houses today? That's going to be over. No, like who in their right mind is going to do it? The reason people do it right now is because they get $15,000, $20,000 commission checks. And when those checks get cut in half or they don't even get paid, I believe it's going to create some serious problems. I think realtors are going to be sizing people up to see if they can pay, they can afford the house right up front, and they're going to break some major federal laws in the Fair Housing Act. And there's a huge potential for that. The really cool part, guys, is I think it's going to take a year for the dust to settle on this.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to see so much competition. I've heard flat fees. I've heard charging a la carte per inspection, per contract, per negotiation. And it's just, you can actually incentivize the realtor to get you a lower price and based it on that. Oh my God, could you imagine that? And that some of the stuff's going to stick, but a lot of it's going to fail. Hey, boy, it sounds a lot like what wholesalers have gone through the last 21 years. Guys, I've tried a lot of things and you constantly have to adapt. You have to test and you have to put your butt out there. And some of the stuff sticks, but a lot of it doesn't. And that's how we learn and grow as business people. The fact that realtors have gotten away for this long time, they're in such shock. In fact, I have a lot of friends that are realtors that like they put social media comments, don't you dare comment if you don't know what's going on. You guys are just making it extremely dramatic about the NAR thing. I go, I'm not making it dramatic. You guys are. All you guys do is talk about it. So listen, people love negative news. That's one of the reasons talking about it. We are talking it from a positive news size because I believe this has a huge positive effect for the entire wholesaling community. I don't care who you study with, what you do. This is good news. Now, here's where the conflict of interest comes in, where I find it very interesting. When you're a wholesaler that you did wholesaling first, then got a real estate license because somebody told you to, now you're really conflicted. Your paperwork is going to go through the roof right now. And your liability, if you do something wrong, your broker is going to be on the hook for you. I strongly believe it's going to be really tough to do wholesaling and hold a real estate license, but time will tell over that. This is one of the reasons, guys, why you just don't get a real estate license because somebody told you to, because there's huge conflict. The conflict now, would you agree, is even bigger, being a wholesaler and a real estate. Listen, if you have your real estate license because that's what you did by trade first, and you became a wholesaler, it is what it is.
So I just want to give everyone FYI. The reason why we're breaking this down and really sharing this is, first and foremost, we're going to talk about the big changes it's going to have for wholesaling. But everyone who talks about wholesaling real estate says you have to get licensed because they're licensed. They say you should get licensed. It's like if I'm a vegan, you should be a vegan.
Yep.
That's what happens. Okay. So what I'm saying here is everyone's been pushing getting a license down your throat. Everyone's been pushing MLS wholesaling down your throat. And the stuff that makes people millions of dollars and $100K a year, that stuff, every real estate wholesaling influencer has been pushing that away and throwing new stuff to sell you. And this garbage stuff, let's talk about last year, okay? Let's go 365 days from this year.
Yes.
What was being shoved down your throat? Was it the same this year? No. Every year, gurus do different things. What was last year? And TNFs, I can't say, can I say NFTs, that they were being shoved down your throat with coaching programs.
We're zero now, guys.
They're down like 99%.
99%.
And like, that's what was being shoved down your throat. And this year, it's something else. And the next year is going to be something else. And the stuff that actually works. And we got books that are 80 years old about creative finance, wholesaling, how to put out ads for finding motivated sellers. The stuff that has made me millions and you millions over a combined 28 years in wholesaling, that stuff doesn't change. I know it's not sexy to do videos on that sometimes, but the stuff that works is the stuff that'll always get you to work. So if you're a realtor right now, I'm not going to say the world's ending. If you're a good realtor right now and you're making millions of dollars and you already have your client base and you're already smart and know what you're doing, you'll probably make more money as a realtor now.
You'll do better.
You'll do better. But if your name's Sheila and in your water polo group, your water yoga class in your clubhouse, and you sell 2 of their houses a year because that's your friend's nephew, you ain't going to do well here. And so I'm not a fear monger.
So let's talk about why you brought that up. One of NAR's biggest defenses, they put out an entire publicity thing saying when they were trying to fight this lawsuit, remember they were going to win the appeal, no problem. Every realtor said that. And they said, listen, you guys are picking on the poor realtor. They only average $31,000 a year. You're taking food out of their mouth. It's not fair. No. That's a complete misrepresentation. The reason why the national average is 31,000 because you got way too many realtors.
You got too many zeros.
Way too many. So let's break down that $31,000 realtor. They do 1 to 3 deals a year. Friends, family, neighbors. List a property. Go get a cocktail. Go get appetizers. Take a couple phone calls. Some contracts come over. Make 1 or 2 calls. Bam, bam, bam. Deal's done. I just made $12,000, $14,000. They do that 3 times. So in reality is they could have had a full-time job. They could be retired doing anything else. They made 31 grand for doing very, very little work, never leaving their house, very rarely, and getting a huge commission check. And then that is the problem. Those people are never going to survive in this new environment because they have to compete based on value, and they're upset because they're taking that away. So NAR predicts, I predict, actually, it's not just me, it's a consensus. They're going to lose over 1 million members. Why? Because there's so many people sitting on the sidelines doing little to nothing. And NAR wants it that way. Why? Because they collect the fees. If I sign up as a realtor and I do 1 deal a year, they don't care. They get their fees no matter what. And that's the problem. The poor realtor excuse, 31K a year, it's a joke because a lot of those people did 1, 2, maybe 3 deals, and then they just went on with their lives. I'm not talking about the people who do it full time. Let me ask you this. If you were going to hire a surgeon to perform an operation on you, would you hire a part-time surgeon? Would you?
No.
Why would you hire a part-time? And that's the problem is everybody gets a license. There's no qualification. So the new part-time or quarter-time realtor, they are not going to take the time to do all the paperwork, to get all the training, and to comply with the new systems because they're so ingrained in the old one that they're going to go away. And I think that's a good thing because everybody represents their sister, their mother, their neighbor, their friends, their cousin, their uncle, their aunt. Finally, we can find people that are going to be true professionals in the business. I believe the cream will rise to the crop. And I think people in that 30 grand and below level, they're all going to go away because they're like, yeah, I don't want to do all this stuff.
So let's talk about this part, and then we're going to get into wholesaling, how this is affecting it. Buyer's agents will be left flying blind since they don't know how much they'll end up making from a given home. Oh no, they actually have to look at homes based on what their client wants and not what their commission is going to be.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh, shocker. We'll have a bunch of phone calls and we don't even know what the commission is going to be. That's why you need an agreement with the buyer. That's the point here, because here's the problem. If you're a realtor, and I'm not a realtor, I am in it for my own money. I'm just always being honest with you. Yeah. I'm here to make money. I'm an entrepreneur. If I'm a realtor though, and I sign something because I'm a man of my word that says I am a fiduciary responsibility for my client. I don't do this client customer service type thing. But if I was, I'm going to do what's best for my client. For example, if I'm a realtor for my little cousin, okay, let's say she turns 25 when I'm older, and she's starting a family and she's looking to buy her first home. Am I going to go try to shove 10% commissions down her throat so I can make money off? No. What is best for her, right? Because that's a family member and I love, right? I want to treat every client like that, right? If you're buying your grandma a house, you're going to do what's best for your grandma. You're not going to put your grandma in the south side of the hood because you're going to make a better commission. You're going to give where it's best for her and what you know it's going to be best, right? Because realtors don't act like that. Everyone says they act like they're doing it for their grandma. No, they do it for their money. And so realtors have to do this. That's why you're a realtor. You're a realtor for the client. And so everyone thinks I throw shade at realtors. I do throw a lot of shade at realtors, just to be honest. But it's because they don't do what they are signed up to be doing. I truly believe realtors should be basically the people taking care of my grandma when it comes to her buying a house. I'm going to walk through my grandma 15 houses.
Yeah.
I don't know. This roof looks too, I feel like that's the point, what's best for them. And so the point here is some changes are happening. So let's kind of get rid of the realtor crying thing and get the important part. What does this mean for wholesaling?
And guys, right before we get in there, a typical buyer's agent that's an independent realtor, kind of part-time, like I said earlier. Imagine this. They have a list. They're either going after a listing or say they have their own listing. They get 30 prospective clients that want to make an offer on it. If they don't have the training, the systems, and the education, they have to negotiate every phone call with that buyer. It's going to drive them all nuts and they're going to quit. Think about it. They never even listen. Put in the comments here. How many times have you guys reached out to a realtor to inquire about a property? They don't even call you back. Why? It's too much work. Can you imagine calling everybody back to get a commission structure agreement before you even get in the negotiation? Not only was the negotiation, that was like the painful part for them, but now they've got to negotiate how they're going to get compensated up front for every phone call. And this reason alone, if you're a small-time, part-time, or quarter-time real estate agent broker, there's no way you're going to comply and you're going to be out of business.
I agree. It's the difference between honestly, it's the difference between, let's say, a nurse and a code enforcement, let's say, phone rep. What does that mean? If I work for the government, I'm not going to work hard because I'm not expected to work hard, and I have no repercussions for not working hard. When I'm a nurse or something and somebody passes away or something, that's on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you work for the government, it's not on you. And so what I mean by this is realtors are so used to just being all cushioned of not working too hard and getting money. That's what they do. Realtors back in the day used to work a lot harder. I promise you that. And so basically, realtors are now forced to work hard and actually do what they're worth. It's like that's the big part where everyone's crying. It's like you're not used to working out, and now you have to start working out. Yeah, you're crying about it, but you get used to it. So let's talk about what the effect this has in wholesaling real estate, because this is the really important part, all right? First and foremost, I want to be on the record here. Me and Rick are always on the record. When we talked about this lawsuit dropping, I said, first and foremost, they're probably going to settle.
Yeah.
Because they don't have $1.8 billion. It's like if your net worth's $500K and you get sued for $100 million, either go bankrupt or they'll settle.
Yeah.
They're settled because NAR doesn't even have the money. They're broke. It's like these gurus kind of. So $418 million, I think I have to look at it. I'm pretty sure it's over 5 years, maybe 5 or 10 years, but like they got to get payments. They got like child support payments for NAR. But
so let me ask you, who's going to pay that ultimate fine?
They're going to charge the realtors, and the realtors are going to get out.
And the realtors, they're going to try to pass it off with like fees, everything. And that's the problem is NAR's not going to pay it. The realtors are. A smart realtor, like honestly, I think NAR's entire structure is up for grabs. I really think this is going to create an opening for people to be innovative and create.
We'll talk about this. Yeah.
But I just think it's crazy because NAR's not paying it. The realtors are.
Exactly. And so let's talk about, so what does this change for wholesaling real estate? Before we break that, we got to talk about what changed about real estate in general. Okay. So first and foremost, this will not get in effect till mid-July for everyone, FYI.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. And before I break this down, I want to share this, and I'm not trying to pump you guys up but remember what we said in the beginning of this video. If you just listen to the old school advice that we give to you, these changes don't really change you at all.
Nothing.
So first and foremost, what's our number one advice when it comes to finding comps and giving offers? Go for the no. Go low. If you go low, you don't have to be.
You don't have to do all this stuff.
But here's the thing. But if you listen to a guru and you calculate it perfectly, you put your glasses on and you get your protractor and you get to the T, guys, oh my gosh, I see wholesalers calculate what the perfect flipping costs. And let's throw this on the head. This is the biggest change I'm going to see first and foremost for wholesalers. Your comps and ARVs are going to be all out of whack for July onward. All going to be out of whack. What is? No one talks about this. Not one word. Your comps and ARV are going to be super out of whack. This is why I got to go live right now. What do I mean by this? Okay, let's do it. Let's say we got a comp for $100,000 on the MLS or a $100K comp on a public record for 123 Main Avenue. Oh, it's $100,000. You got to remember. Let's talk about now and in the past. When you see a comp for $100,000, that's never what the seller's netting, right? It's never. So if I calculate $100,000, the seller's honestly netting. Let's get 6% of that. Let's keep closing costs. The seller's really getting $94,000 is what the seller's netting at the end of the day. So the real sales price, if
less
you really
closing
look at
costs.
it, well, yeah, but closing costs are going to be the same in the future. $94,000, right? Here's the problem. What if the seller negotiates, because this is all outside the purview, that I will pay you outside of the closing? Now the comp is $94,000, and $6,000 is paid outside the HUD for the realtor or the realtors, right? What goes on here, right? Because $3,000 the buyer pays is on the HUD, and then the seller's listing agent just cuts a check for $3,000. Comp's not 94, or maybe it's $100,000, but they baked in a $6,000 loan. Like, we don't know anymore, and so
I don't know.
Comps are going to be a little weird. They're going to be off 3 to 6% now. They're going to be off because we don't know what's going to happen. I think that for the buyer's agent, I believe this is going to happen because honestly, like, how else are you going to do this when you have no money? They're going to bake the buyer's agent commission into the HUD, basically into the loan too. We'll see if FHA allows it. I think they will, because our current president of the United States no talks about this, but he's very just politics aside. He's very pro people who don't have a lot of money and trying to buy homes. He's already talked about he's trying to change rents and stuff.
When he's awake, right?
Okay. So basically what that means is I believe from his past policies that he's going to bake in the buyer's agent into the FHA loans. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's government that backs it up.
I think the government's going to.
And honestly, I mean, all the banks and Wall Street, they don't want to lose the money in real estate. They're all going to cooperate to try to make it happen. They're still trying to finalize the rules on it. It's going to get interesting, but he has a good point. It's like, how does this going to affect the underwriting? Let me give you a perfect example. I can't tell you how many times through a real estate agency, an appraiser calls. I've had them call me directly. They've called you. They call the agents. They call the broker. Hey, were there any concessions? Was there any special interest? And they're really bad about it because they're just, don't take this personally, your appraiser. You're just a number cruncher. Now, like, can you imagine if they have to call every deal and try to figure out what the commissions are? They're not going to do it. I think they're going to bake and underwrite comps going in the future to allow for a discount because they hate making the 1 out of 10 phone calls. Can you imagine if they had to call on every deal? They would lose it, guys. So we have to see what the long-term effects going to be underwriting. What me and Zach are telling you is if you learn the fundamentals of wholesaling and you use our method of just go for no, you don't have to sort through all this crap. Because if you're doing it, honestly, if you're trying to get to the final spec numbers, you're not wholesaling. You're a speculator. And we don't teach that. And I don't want to. I want you to make the most amount of money as possible. Remember, we never force a seller to sell us a property. But in the end, a lot of you guys, you thought you were in comping hell before this. Like you're just going to get extreme with this. Use the go for no approach. It will fix this problem. That's what wholesaling is. If you want to be a speculator, go find one of the gurus. They have these fancy apps and stuff like that. You know what I said? If you have to do a calculator to figure out your comp, you're probably paying too much. It's just the truth. I've been in this business 21 years. Yes, I've used a calculator. Not perfect, but I'm just telling you, if you can't do the math in your head, you're probably trying to justify why you're overpaying for the property. You have to have room in these deals to move them because 9 times out of 10, you're selling them to cash buyers. And what do they want to do? They want to make money. You are not to strip out all the equity and then sell it. Your cash buyer is not the end user. They are your customer, and you have to act like it as a
Exactly. So just understand this, that because of this, you can negotiate with the buyer's agent. You can negotiate the listing a lot more. And what this is going to lead, and I've already said this, less commissions are going to be paid out. And that means less commissions are paid out from me and you, right?
Yeah.
So this means if I'm flipping a house, 1% commissions, why not? It's the truth now. And so, and I don't even have to pay the buyers now. So if I'm flipping a house, I don't have to pay 6% anymore. I don't.
No. And that, guys, do you like, so when you're buying a property, like the old adage was, I'm going to use the dual agency strategy. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to explain it to you. Is you would incentivize the listing agent and go, listen, I know you're representing the seller on the property. What if I paid your full commission on that and you represent me as the buyer? That way you can get your full 6%. What did we do? We induced them financially. And the reality is, let's be honest, they did what was in their best financial interest. It wasn't always the best interest for the seller, but that's neither here or there. So when you did that, but that's now been taken away. So you can't do that anymore. It's not even going to make sense because you're not going to have access to the buyer's agent. So when I go buy a property, I only need to pay the listing agent. That is a win for, especially for all you wholesalers doing this online. And then it's going to be negotiable to a point. I want to still get the deal. Money's still going to be involved, but I don't need buyer's representation. Why? Because I understand the process. I know exactly what I'm doing. Why would I pay for buyer's representation when I don't need it? And that's what you have to understand it. A lot of you guys are getting kickbacks on your buyer's agent's fees. Now everybody can compete at the same level. I can just pay 1 to 3%, buy the property. I don't have to worry about that other 3% of the buyer's agent. That's step number one.
I agree.
Dual agency, although I loved it, we went after the realtors' greed. Let's be brutally honest, because they could actually take a lower price and actually make more money. It was a conflict of interest. I don't care what you say. It is the truth. Some of them always looked at their clients first, and I give them credit. But for the most part, if you induce an agent with money, they will usually do what's in their best financial interest.
I agree. So less commissions for me and Rick, more profits for everyone else. And so if there's more profits for house flippers, that means they can pay wholesalers more.
Oh my God.
Think about that for a second. Let's think about it. The more profits I get, the more I can pay the wholesalers. And so think about your MAO calculations. If I don't have to pay an extra 3% commission, my MAO is completely different now. I'm making more profit. And that means I can use a little bit of those profits to pay the wholesalers.
Correct.
Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. So that's great for us. Like, no one talks about how good this is. All right. This is amazing for us wholesalers.
Yeah.
We're going to get some money here.
So that was really our only strategy with real estate agents, was like dual agency. Like now, you know, they're going to be very gun shy because of the transparency piece. So another way you can do it, which has always been around, it's not invented by me or anybody else, is instead of doing the dual agencies, you could technically, if you want to go off the buyer's agent side and you're looking on that side of transaction, meaning trying to dispo your properties, you just bonus them out, whatever it is. Why? Money still talks. You just have to formalize your agreement up front, and you stand out whenever there's even a bonus mentioned. Most realtors don't see it. They don't understand it. But now when you go, hey, listen, if you find me a buyer, I'll give you $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 bonus. They will bust their butt to try to find you a buyer. And you can put that out to all the agents. So now we can separate it. I think it's a huge advantage for wholesalers because, listen, if I'm getting ready to make 50K, who cares if you pay 3 or 5K out extra? Time is money, guys. Because if you had a property where you actually had to have some sort of transactional or holding costs, speed cures a lot of problems in wholesaling. So I'm going to incentivize the buyer's agent, because now the buyer's agents are going to be left. They're going to be wide open to working with us, right? Like, let's get creative. Let's have fun with it, because the rules are ripped off. Competition is fair. And the person that provides the most value, the most service, is ultimately going to win in this transaction.
Tony, we're going to make a lot more money here. And also some big changes. You know, MLS wholesaling is probably going to, it's not going to go away, but it's going to change a lot. Right?
Oh,
the
God.
dual agency, all that stuff.
You guys, listen, you got to agree that the way we do real estate is so antiquated. It's ridiculous. Now, The major change for MLS is when the internet came along. And honestly, they never liked it. I was around, this is how old I am, when you actually had to go to a realtor's office and get the information. You couldn't get it online. You couldn't do anything. And I get it how it worked. Now you walk in, take any product. You got a good product that is easy for a consumer to have a direct experience with the company. It's a seamless process and everything's transparent. What's a good company?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So just take like a Tesla or something like that. I'm not biased, but I'm just saying I can go online. I get their price. I book an appointment. I go out to the car. They unlock it for you virtually with an app on your phone. You test drive it without somebody in the car. They track the device the whole time. They can see what's going on with the cameras. They park it. And then you go in and it's just a yes or no if you're going to buy it. Everybody likes it because they don't spend as much on advertising. They don't have salespeople. They have customer reps. And then the car gets delivered to your door. It is a seamless process that breaks the traditional dealership model, which is highly expensive because it involves real estate taxes. And that model is slowly, it's becoming antiquated because it doesn't work. And they only sell the amount of inventory. So you have to order the car, then they build it or they get it off the factory line. And it is a seamless process. Guys, it goes on and on. There's so many services like we do. You can do logos like this now. And with AI, everything me and Zach have taught you, you don't have to, I don't have to spend $1,000 to get a logo. I can get it in less than 2 minutes. And everything else has evolved except real estate. And with the advent of technology and AI, a lot of the rudimentary skills can be automated. And there's complete tracking and accountability. And for that reason, it is definitely going to drive down prices. I think you're going to see flat fee listings, and you're going to see a competition, and people are going to get creative. You know why? Because they've been held back for so long in the realtor world. And I'm here to tell you, only a few of the models are going to survive. A lot of them are. I saw one the other day. It was a la carte. You have to pay per contract, per inspection, per negotiation. Can you imagine like an a la carte? I just don't see that really kind of working unless you need one little limited feature and you can't do it. Maybe that helps us out. Maybe we can utilize it for boots on the ground. There's so many things us as wholesalers are going to be able to leverage out of this change. It is phenomenal.
I agree.
So guys, what it does is now realtors actually have to have open conversations. And I'll tell you right now, they're going to have to get real creative in selling properties. And the scary thing is they're all holding back till mid-July. Like we have listings going on right now. It's like nothing's changed. I'm like, what, are you guys just going to flip a switch in July? The smart ones would get out ahead of it now and figure it out and just get through the pain. But it's like a New Year's resolution, right? I ain't doing it till January 1. I'm just going to keep the party going till then. I don't understand what they're waiting for. If you started it now, you started advertising and getting it going, you could lead the pack. So we'll have to see what it does. But like as of a listing as of yesterday, it's still old school.
Yeah.
We're not changing anything. And that just tells you how bad of a problem it is.
So I personally see this. I think you see this too. We have a million wholesalers, real estate agents leaving. We have a million agents. We have a lot of agents joining wholesaling because they figure out wholesaling. Wait, I can make $100,000 in a year, in a month, as low as work.
Well,
holy moly, right? I'm just telling you guys, and these are licensed real estate agents becoming wholesalers.
I see the gurus salivating over this. They're going to sell the dream. Let me show you how simple wholesaling is. Listen, they come to our sites. I'll show them how to do it, but I'm going to tell them you got to show up to work every day. And honestly, if you're one of those part-time realtors, you're probably not going to make it in this business. But
there's a lot of people that do, though.
There's a lot of people that do, the ones that actually want to work. But I just see, yes, we're going to see at least the prediction is 1 million to 1.5 million realtors exiting. That means I don't even know what NAR's total base is. I think it was just under 2 million. How does NAR survive this? Like, I just, to me, guys, we've been a giant bullseye on NAR's back for the last 10, 15 years. And guess what? That bullseye is fading because they've got real big problems. It's like when you're picking on your neighbor, like that fence is so ugly. I'm gonna call code violation. I'm gonna call the police. You become a Karen, and then all of a sudden, your house floods, and all your floors are soaking wet. You can't live in the house anymore. Can't figure out how to afford it. That's where NAR is. I don't believe NAR is going to have the ability to hunt us down anymore. And guys, who's the biggest lobby group in the country? One of the biggest.
NAR.
NAR. They ain't gonna have the money for it anymore if they don't have the members for it. And you know what that means for us, guys, right? Zach has been just incredible in breaking down these laws and doing it word for word and explaining what happens to you.
Wholesaling.com, by the way.
And when you do that and you understand it, I believe there's going to be a huge flood of real estate agents going into wholesaling. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. That's why we've always told you guys, get in now. And then number two, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A bunch of homeowners are going to try to figure out how to sell their home on their own now, because now they have tools, they have competition. So all of a sudden, homeowners are going to do a lot more transactions. So what does that mean with all these laws that NAR's lobbied for, that, the anti-advertising, the anti-marketing wholesaling laws? They are not like to stop wholesaling and stop assignments. That's complete misrepresentation. But what does this mean? Get a homeowner that sells 2 or 3 homes, and then in one of these states where they didn't qualify, or they get involved in more in wholesaling, there's going to be more pressure, more activities of previous realtors doing what we do. Guess what? They're going to jump on our side. NAR's, in my opinion, is going to run out of money. The lobbyists that for NAR are probably all unemployed right now, and I believe it's going to give us a ton of breathing room. They've been attacking state by state. We all agree it's ridiculous. It's written in our constitutional right. By the way, none of these laws have been tested, as Zach says. None of them. Why? Because they're really unenforceable. So I don't think they're going to be chasing it down. So this has created a huge blight on NAR and like the realtor industry. And so instead of them being on the offensive, attacking and trying to monopolize their entire industry by getting a license and joining NAR, now we're going to get floodgates back towards us, which is going to get us ammunition and get the lobbyings off our back. And guys, I've never agreed with this whole fear mongering, like, oh my God, wholesaling. For the longest time, the last 2 years, everyone was telling you, go get a license. And then, of course, a guru offers a brokerage and will protect you. Honestly, I promise you that is out the window, because it's way too much of a liability for them now. So now we're back to good old wholesaling. And I believe I see the seas parting. Everything's getting calm. Guys, it is a great time to get in the wholesaling. I love what's going on. Incredible amounts of opportunity going here and forward. So you have to adapt. If you're a wholesaler, you're resourceful. You get it every day. You have to be resourceful. It's about time that NAR and the realtors join the party.
I agree. So this is an exciting time. I think a lot of wholesalers, they all scared. They all freaked out. These laws are like, it doesn't change anything. A lot of these laws, and none of them really, anything being introduced. I showed you, like, there's a slight changes, but like, if you know what you're doing, like if you listen to what I say, it's fine. If you listen to things that have always been working, we're gonna be fine. It's when you go out here and you start getting the fear mongering, you freaking out. No, it's over. It's over.
I heard.
So-and-so
said.
Lord, I can't do it. So guys, wholesaling's fine. Stop freaking out. Can we focus on making money? And when we stop focusing on what's actually making money, we're not going to do anything. So it drives me crazy. So let's answer some questions, see what questions guys have, and go from there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So, Damon, let's talk about South Carolina. So you talk about South Carolina. If you read the law, technically wholesaling, you need a license to wholesale. What?
Uh-oh.
So here's how laws are written. They can't sell the son of contract. That's my blanket rule, right? And so what they do is they change what the definition of wholesaling is. So it says you can't do rock jumping. It's like, what's rock jumping?
Yeah.
Rock jumping is when you play rock, paper, scissors. It's like they have weird. So the definition of wholesaling is putting a property under contract, then selling the property to somebody. So no signing of contracts in the law. Weird. And so, yes, they passed a law stating that you cannot put a property under contract and sell the house. They wrote it really stupid. So no, Damon, like you're talking about, you didn't read the law. You're just hearing what he said, she said. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, we sell contracts. We don't sell properties.
That's it. Matt says, when text blasting the pre-foreclosures, do you text all 4 prop stream skip trace generated from address, or do you text the top number? Usually we'll text the top 1 to 2 numbers that are only mobiles, and then we'll go from there. Usually if you use texting software, it should work out pretty easy for there. I have 2,500 saved up. Is that enough to start? Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like you could get $0.
Yeah, I wouldn't advertise that because gurus are just going to be hammering you. So honestly, a lot of us have done it with little to no money. Money does help somewhat, but honestly, it can handicap you because you think there's a solution and somebody gives you a marketing pitch and you go, oh my God, that sounds so perfect, because it does, because it's not. You're never going to replace the hard work. Go over to freewholesaling.com and just dig in, and then save your 2,500 when you need it for like marketing purposes. Don't need logos. You don't need to set up businesses. You got to get out and you got to fill your pipeline up. You got to find motivated sellers. Government lists. Go over to freewholesaling.com. Show you how to do it.
Exactly. And then Logan says, where can I find boots on the ground? That's a great question. Tomorrow, we're having a bonus training on the virtual wholesaling series. Entire thing on boots on the ground.
It's perfect.
So basically, I'm not going to spoil it. Go to tomorrow's video and flip the Rick. I'll be right there. Matt says, is FSBO considered on market? I got a FSBO under contract. Do I ask the seller to take it down while I find a buyer, take their ad down? Oh boy. No, you can't be doing that. It's their property. They own the property. They can do whatever they want to it, right? I mean, you can ask. I don't think it's going to sound good for you at all. So I would consider FSBO on the on market of things. On market. It's technically not on market. It's technically not on the MLS, but it's in the public sphere. So it's kind of,
it's on market.
It's on market pretty much. It's not theoretically, but it's as close as it can be.
But this is where it can help you out. Like say it's a $200,000 property and you got a contract at like 140. I'd leave it out there, because now you look like a hero, because now you could wholesale it for 160, 170 and show the value you're providing. The problem comes in when the property's worth 200 and you guys contract it for 195. It's just a waste of time. That no buyer in the world is going to go for that. So if you have a huge disparity, leave it. You should have a huge disparity if you use me and Zach's methods. But I'm telling you, you can't be telling sellers what to do with their own property. It's their property. They want to put it on there, market it. It's going to be an odd conversation, and I don't think it's going to go very well. But I get them at such a discount. I encourage them to leave it out there, because when I go and shop my contracts around, they're like, well, they're offering a 200. You're at like 175. I'm like, yeah, it's a great deal. You better take it. And so just keep that in mind when you do it.
Exactly. I agree. Next question here is from Sydney. Sydney says, been waiting for y'all's take on this. Getting tired of hearing the fear clickbait. As long as we have distressed sellers, wholesalers will have the opportunity to do business. 100%.
Yep.
People are freaking out. It drives me crazy. So let's do some one-on-ones too. If you guys want to hop on, do a one-on-one with us, you got to be in Wholesaling House of Real, our Facebook group. Let's go there right now.
So guys, this is a good thing. Like and I don't like, you've learned by now, getting caught up in the drama, stuff like that. And I find realtors here's the reality is, the media is run wild with this report, and it's getting a little ridiculous. And then, so everyone's a realtor. They come up to you and go, are you okay? Is everything all right? And then that's where the human nature comes in, to like the negative news. Cause that's that's why everybody reaches out to a realtor. Are you okay? Because people want to get attention, and that's how they do it. And you guys are smarter than that. So we're kind of on the other side of it. So for once, I'm enjoying myself without a target on the back. Incredible amounts of opportunities, because we are open up to free competition with realtors now.
I agree. So if you want to hop on, go here. Wholesaling House is for real. Let's pop it up. All right. Just go here, click on the top, boom, click the StreamYard link, and boom, you'll be hopped on here to talk to me and Rick absolutely for free. So let's get it going and let's share this. So first and foremost, we got Rob. Rob, what is up, man? Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Pretty
Rob?
good. So I joined you guys maybe 6 months ago and got a little feedback from you, and we're doing pretty good now. I've got a team of probably 10 people.
Wow.
And it's all JV type team deal.
Yeah.
But we've implemented some print campaign marketing. Got a few questions for you there. Texting took a nosedive, so we're still kind of trying to figure that out. That's been pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Lots of cold calling and door knocking. For print, we do Texas, and we sent out all over Texas, and we kept getting lots of calls from people in tertiary markets, 20,000 population or whatever. We get them under contract easy. We can't dispo.
Yeah.
And so, we contacted our print guy and was like, hey, we need to mix this up and, stack the list better or something.
Mm-hmm.
We made a few changes, but we still can't dispo these deals. It's driving me crazy.
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah.
So have you been through wholesaling.com? Of course you can't sell those.
Yeah. We don't do them either because the exact problem, they take a ton of time. Yeah. And time is not always your best friend when it comes to wholesaling. So that's why we emphasize two major things in every market. What are they? The two fundamental things you need to survive for a wholesaling market.
Lots of buyers.
Population.
Yep.
And average median price.
Yeah.
If you can't hit those two, it doesn't matter about any of your other variables. And that's the problem. Because the problem is you spend money marketing, you got people working, but nobody wants to work for free if you can't move a deal. It can look good on paper. It's kind of like a stock, like that equity. Oh my God, I bought the stock for 20. It's worth 200, but I'm going to keep it. You didn't make a profit till the day you sell it. And the same thing happens in real estate. The only difference is we're in control of the equity. So trust me, I've been in your shoes. At some point, you have to make a decision and set minimum requirements for you to attack any type of market. So we do this nationally in JV with a ton of people on a huge scale. We've learned some hard lessons over the last 3 years. And one is a small population. It can take you 6 months to sell a deal. We don't have 6 months because we make a commitment to our seller because they give us a great deal. So unless it's super creative financing and we can take it over the little money, we just avoid them at all costs. Because at the end of the day, Rob, it's not about how many contracts you write. It's about how much money you put in the bank account. And, deals fall through, but like at 20,000, it's going to be a challenge because there's only so many cash buyers that want a property with a low population base because it's limited. And that's the problem you're having with it. And I can't fix it. Zach can't fix it. You're going to have to adapt your underwriting standards to go, okay, listen, we need to find markets with at least this minimum amount of people. So you already know what doesn't work. And that's good. So all your marketing there's never a failure in this business. It's just you learn. And once you get data and you get feedback, you use that intel to your advantage. All real estate's local, right? That's why I don't hop in your backyard and try to wholesale without the help of a local JV partner, because I would get killed. The same thing would happen if you came to South Florida. Yeah. So the only thing I can tell you is learn from your data and find the contracts that just aren't working on a consistent basis and go, okay, we can't do this area anymore. We're just spinning our wheels. And spinning your wheels, we don't get paid by the time clock. We get paid for the deals that are successful. There's nothing worse than working on a deal and just go, we all agree it's a great deal on paper, but at the end, if there's no buyers for it because they're not really participating in that market, there's nowhere to go with. So once, okay, maybe a coincidence. Twice, I'm seeing a pattern 3, 4, 5 times. If you keep doing it over and over, you're going to have to make the changes. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time and money. And this is where you can burn JV partners, employees, because they're like, wait a minute, this guy keeps guiding me down and we're not getting any money out of this. So you have to change. I've eliminated a lot of markets in our national plan. And once again, population is probably one of the biggest influences we have on them.
Yeah, we tweaked it to 50K. We got a little lax on it if it was near a military base or something like that. But for the most part,
okay.
We tweaked it. So we'll see what happens. It's still coming in. The phone's still ringing.
It's got it. You got to listen. The only other thing you do is build your cash buyers base. And if you can't get traction on that and you're somewhat marketing in there, like that's when you got to go, hey, listen, dude, I only find 2 buyers in this entire county. I think we're in trouble. And you most likely are going to be. So you can use your cash buyer activity as a gauge, and then the population. And then once you put the two together, go, listen, anything below 50,000 and we can't get more than 2 cash buyers from active marketing to build a cash buyers list, we're going to have to X that market off of our list.
Yeah.
That's my 2 suggestions for you on that problem.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
What else you got?
I honestly wasn't even intending on going live, but I thought I'd
Okay.
bring that up.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did, man.
Yeah. So
All right.
thanks to you guys. We're teaching a lot of our people all the things that you've taught us, and
Awesome.
it's working out.
Okay. Well, keep swinging at it, man. I appreciate your feedback, Rob.
Oh.
Thank you.
You bet. See you guys.
See ya. All right. Next here is Desiree. How are you?
Hey, I'm finding you.
I'm good. How can I
Sorry.
help you out today?
I'm sorry, I look like a hot mess.
No worries.
Hey, so I had a question. Great information about NAR and everything that you all are doing. I've actually got a probate question. Been following the probate on the Plus series, and I have a contract in place. The probate was actually only opened up in the beginning of March, and I actually had the one executor sign because he's out of state. The other executor was supposed to sign, and now they're saying that their probate attorney is saying that they can't do anything.
Why?
Because the probate's apparently not finalized.
You don't need it finalized.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm not here to pick on lawyers, but they're proven 50% wrong every day in our courts. Okay. You can argue the law on both sides. When you have an executor or the PR, once again, there can be some exceptions in some states, but I believe yours doesn't. They have the right to enter into a contract as the designated executor or PR. They have that right. Now, still got to be validated by the courts, but they have that right. It is not the attorney's right. Now, here's where the problem comes in. When you let the attorney then interpret what they believe is right, listen, the reality is you can wait till the end of probate. Who does that benefit the most?
The attorneys.
You're damn right, because they drag the fees on, they drag the process on. Most attorneys, if you ask 7 out of 10 attorneys and go, listen, can I sell this property before the probate's complete? You're either going to get a vague answer because they don't want to lie, or they'll flat out lie to you. Remember, they're licensed, they have ethics, they have a bar. It's ridiculous. So I'm just telling you, they're trying to intimidate you. They definitely intimidate their clients. They have the right to do it. So what I would do is I would reach out to your local title company and present this exact scenario. Can the property be sold before the probate's complete? I already know the answer. So my favorite thing in the world is when I already know the answer to a question and you ask it. It's like cheating on a test, right? You got to be confident in yourself. But here's the problem is, that's why I try to teach you the straight line method. So I know it's Jordan Belfort's selling point, but if you go straight to the executor or the PR and you finalize that agreement, you never have to deal with that lawyer again. But the problem is if they get in between you, now it's like lawyers' interpretation. And a lot of people, like lawyers and real estate agents and brokers, everything they say, they hang their hat on, like, oh my God, I can't do anything without the realtor or the real estate agent. And there's not much you can do. You can't make your seller comply. But so I would talk to my title company and get clarification to get extreme confidence. Why would your seller are they open to selling the property before the probate's complete?
Yes, they are super motivated because they're having to pay all the upkeep costs, which
Correct.
they don't want to. So they want to close now.
Okay. So I don't remember the lawyers, their lane here is to go through the legal process to get the probate complete. The fact that they're going to drag the most expensive asset and bleed this estate while doing it is a huge conflict of interest. And I hate it. And I'm sorry you're going through it. Your job is to communicate and express in a positive manner why it's a win for them to do it. You're never going to sell the attorney on it. So don't even bother. But so you already have one that signed. I would have a deeper conversation with them and get on a 3-way call and tell them why it's their advantage. Now, before I do that, I'm going to talk to the title company and make sure it's 100% possible in your state. And they might even point you to some clarifications in the laws and cut you through it. And then you can use that as evidence for them as well. I do this all the time. I've done it hundreds of times. I'm telling you, it is a misconception, and lawyers try to hide behind this. In my opinion, it's so unethical to do that. Because remember, if you have to wait till the probate's completed, you're not doing your client any services. You don't have a distinct selling advantage over them. And number 3, if they wait till the end, they can just sell it to anybody they want because they don't have to wait for anything.
Mhm.
And so that's why I want you to do it before. So who are you going to talk to next when you're done with us?
The title company.
There you go.
I actually already did your advice, and I reached out to the title company, and the title agent, the escrow officer, turned around and said to me, "No, you have to wait until probate is finished." So
tell her to show you a law on that.
I'm going
It's
to
not.
research.
You keep in mind the property can be sold. Now, what happens to those funds when the property gets sold? Where does it go?
I believe it stays in the estate or title.
There you go. So it's still protected by the probate process. The reason why the courts make an exception, because some people don't want to deal with the upkeep and the maintenance of the house. Some probates take years. And so there's an exception written in each one of them. And if you can't get there, I would find a local lawyer to help advise you. Hopefully they'll do it for free, but even if you had to give them a few bucks, it would be worth it.
Mhm.
They are sabotaging your client. Remember, you are offering a value that nobody else is. I just wanted to be confident. Now, I got 3,200 counties. There's some wacky counties out there. But I'm telling you, if your client wants to do it, here's the key is they have to demand it from their lawyer. You can't do it. You don't really own the property. So you have to convince your clients it's the right move, it's completely legal, and provide some sort of proof that they can do it. Now, here's the really cool part. Desiree, once you do it once, that's your proof. Hey, I did this property on this date. They told me the same thing, and here's what we did. Here's the HUD. Here's the title company I use. I guess that judge was wrong because a judge has to sign off on it. So all they do is file a motion to liquidate the asset. Each state has a different way they do it. Yes, the attorney has to do it. He's never going to tell your clients. He's definitely not going to tell you how to do it. And so just dig a little bit deeper. You're just about there.
Okay.
I made a killing on probates just by this because everybody told me you can't do it. You can't do it. I go, that's ridiculous. And once I found it, I go, yeah, you can do it. My title company showed me how to do it. And then I confirmed it with a lawyer. And then once I got one deal done, I carried around every probate I went. And that is the proof of concept. Once you have proof of concept, it's basically case law. A judge endorsed it, a lawyer did it, and the sellers did it, and you help put it all together. Then you're going to go out and do like 20 or 30 of them after that.
Awesome.
Okay? You got it, Desiree. You're on the right path.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, no problem.
All right, perfect. All right, next year we got.
Ticks me off when they do that, man. Like
those are realtors, man.
It's lawyers. It's not even a realtor. It's a lawyer that's doing it. It just drives me nuts.
Realtors will say that, and the lawyers.
But like it's like all these ethics and these licenses, and they pass the bar exam, and they manipulate it to their complete favor. And it's our job to bust this stuff wide open so we can show people that we create value. Why? Because if we do the same old thing that everybody else does, it's never going to change. It takes people like us to make change because you save your clients money, you give them exactly what they want, and we are a full service provider. But we have to spend a lot of time educating ourselves and keeping up with everything going on.
Exactly. Let's see here. Mia, hello. Hello.
Mia.
Jose.
Come on, guys.
Jesus. Hello. Why do people hop on here then? Sparkle.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's such an honor to speak with you guys.
Likewise.
Awesome.
I
How can I
found
help you out?
ago. And I do, honestly, I have a few questions. Everything's making sense to me, but I just wanted to clarify. Does my title company have to be in the same state that I am wholesaling from?
So are you virtually wholesaling?
Yes.
Then do it where you're virtually wholesaling.
They have to be licensed in each state,
Okay.
insured and bonded. So unfortunately, that is a requirement. But remember, they only got to be within the state. It's very rare for a title company to be in multiple states unless they're one of these national brands, and you don't want to use those companies anyway. So you are going to have to find one in each virtual market you do.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I do have another question, and it's slipping me. I cannot stand when I have my brain farts.
Oh man,
It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
it's okay.
So I had my title company question, and then I have been trying to pull a probate list for Michigan. I've tried Wayne County. I've also tried I've tried a couple other ones, but I'm unsure of where to find it at. And I did check the the circuit of the Clerk County. I did check there, but I'm having a hard time pulling it up. Are there any tips that you can give as far as how I can access those?
So the clerk of the court for Wayne County.
Yes.
So you can't find it when you Google search it.
No.
Wayne. So let me go to Google Wayne County
Okay.
clerk of court. And
Alrighty.
so the first thing that pops up is clerk of courts. Let's do Wayne County, Michigan. Okay. So I go top home clerk, and I'm taken to Wayne County, Michigan clerk of court website.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
WayneCounty.com.
But waynecounty.com. Right. So from here, am I going to be searching up document types, or am I looking for court services?
So what are you specifically looking for?
Probates.
Probates? Then you go to records, and then search
Okay.
for online records, and then boom, you're good to go. I can't show it on YouTube anymore, but they have their own Odyssey public access portal.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so
right here.
Thank you so much. I actually do see that here. Online record search.
Yep.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for that.
Perfect.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right. It was such a pleasure to meet you. Have a great night, you guys.
Keep it up.
Damn.
Thanks. And then last question we got Sebastian. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. I spoke to Rick earlier in the week. I was telling him about how I got my first deal a few months ago, or a month ago now, and just had a couple of the questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. This first
Tell
one,
them how much you made off that deal.
so the first one I got 2,000, and then I just got a second one assigned that's closing on April 1st, and that should get me 15. So
There you go.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man.
The
I like
reverse
seeing
driving
this.
for dollars definitely works.
Shocker.
I know.
How can I help you out?
So I've got this question. So before I started reverse driving for dollars, I'd actually started putting out some bandit signs, and I had somebody that called me from a bandit sign about a month and a half ago, and they kept like texting me like once or twice a week, and they would never, get on the phone with me or anything. This week they finally were like, hey, like I texted them last Wednesday. It was like, hey, are you still interested in selling that property? They finally got back to me on Monday and was like, yeah, and I've got 2 now that I'm trying to sell. So long story short, he got on the phone with me earlier today, and he's in the hospital. And so he's got these 2 properties that he's wanting to sell as a bundle. And so the first question is like, we can't bundle the properties together, right? We'd have to have a separate purchase and sale for each, right?
For each deed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with him being in the hospital, he said that basically the properties are open and I could go look at them this weekend. And so I was thinking, he said basically just like get in the garage, whatever. And so I was going to go do that this weekend. But with him being in the hospital, I can't really like build that, in-person rapport. And he's wanting basically to make a decision on Monday. And he's claiming that he already has 2 other offers that he's gotten from people, but I'm not sure why he hasn't sold them yet. And like he called me a month and a half ago from a bandit sign. So like he's reaching out to us and he's claiming that he has these other 2 two offers, and that he just hasn't taken them yet, just in case he gets something higher. So I'm not sure if I like necessarily believe him that he has these other offers, and I'm just not sure how to handle that.
So how far away is it local?
Yeah, it's local. Yeah.
Yeah, just go take a quick look at it, and just remember, you're never going to be the highest bidder. So,
Right.
who knows if this hospital story is true, but listen, people who call you off a bandit sign usually have an issue with the property. Now, most of the time, he's probably gaslighting you on the other two buyers, because if they were working, he would have already taken them. So
that's what I thought. Yeah.
these type of deals, if it's not going to create like a huge burden, just go by, take a look at it, and just a lot of times, if it's that bad and you can just get in the house and it's going to be bad, and go, dude, I had no idea it was that bad.
Yeah.
Why don't you just take the offers you have? Like, maybe it's going to, I do the complete takeaway on them. Just take the offers you have, because I'm not even sure I'm interested. And see if he keeps coming at you. Remember, your job as a wholesaler is the art of detachment. So
exactly.
You become a master at building rapport, and I get the obstacle here, but you can't chase people. The idea is you got to think about like your dog. I always give you the story when I open the patio door, the dog runs out. When I need him to come back in, he won't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start going to chase him, and he plays with me, and I go, screw it, I'm going back in. As soon as he hears that patio door click shut, he scrambles back and comes back in. So you learn after a while, like, you have to condition people. So I promise you the property's going to be in poor shape. I already know this without even going look at it, and just say, let's go. I would call him back and go, man, I had no idea it was this bad. Like, maybe you should just take the other offers.
Yeah.
Just do the complete takeaway, because he thinks you're going to bid it up. And you're going to bid it down.
Right.
How you get past a report, I have no idea what he's in the hospital for. I hate when people just text, because transactional kind of sucks. It occasionally works, but for the most part, it doesn't.
Right.
So I would do the takeaway, and then just kind of go on from there.
Okay. All right.
And if he chases you and pursues you, you have a high probability of getting in the deal. If he goes, hey, if you want to bid over this, just go, hey, take the other deal.
Okay.
Take it. Sweet. I think it might work out better for you. Listen, there's a reason he hasn't taken those deals. You know that.
Exactly. That's what I was about to feel.
And when when a seller tells you, hey, just go buy the property and open the garage door, it's that he's got a real problem property.
Yeah.
So just kind of enjoy it, have fun with it. It's kind of funny, but like, don't spend a lot of energy in there, and just do a basic comp, and you're going to have to use the go for no method. But we'll kind of, he tell you how long he's going to be in the hospital for?
He said he should be out this Friday or tomorrow, but he's been in the hospital for a month. So
just, see if he'll pursue you, and then you can meet with him, and then you can try to be the difference maker by establishing a relationship. But transactionally, like, they're hard. And I do some transaction deals, but they're rare. Yeah. Because we're never going to win on price. Like, gotcha. I don't want to win on price.
Okay, sweet. If you have time, just one more quick question on direct mail. So now that I'm getting some, actually getting some good fees, and I'm like pre-planning for doing some direct mail here in the future, obviously going into you guys' ROS system. And so actually lost out on a deal last week, one that I had put a sticky note on, and that I way underestimated the ARV. And I ended up I saw it posted on Facebook later in the day. And so another wholesaler had gotten there. So I actually called the seller back and was like, hey, like, how did this other guy come in contact with you? Because I was, just trying to get some intel on some of the wholesalers in the area. And he was like, oh, it was from a postcard. Yeah. I don't know if they're doing the ROS postcard, but I'm just wondering, how do you guys handle having like competition with direct mail? How do you guys handle that?
Dude, we offer what nobody else does. Like, number one, our postcard gets engagement. The single factor, because we're inducing them to get an emotional response on the offer. Yeah. Everyone tries to duplicate what I do. Very little success outside of our card. In fact, I just had somebody, I was teaching this. The guy got 8 postcards. 5 of them were offer types. He goes, yours just made sense. And we have an entire philosophy behind it, and it works. So check out mailingmastery.com, because I lay the whole thing out for you. Number 2 is, we also teach you is the postcard is just an engagement tool. It's to engage the prospect to contact you. Once they contact you, my postcard's out the window. I don't care anymore. Right. Honestly, I could offer them $1 million or $1. I don't care. I just go into my normal mode that I learned at freewholesaling.com, and I'm going to qualify them, and I'm going to build an amazing relationship. I'm going to build rapport. And then I'm going to go with the go for no. I'm going to get knocked down and I'm going to bring it back up, and we're going to find a number that works for both of us. It is no different.
Okay.
Most people that deal with postcards, they want to come in and they just want to talk about comps all day.
Mhm.
And we just don't do that. Like, I don't waste my time on that. If I don't get it low enough, I don't want to buy it because I don't want to compete for like 2 and 3%. Realtors do that. We don't do that.
Yeah.
So our postcards completely separate us because of the engagement factor. And then number 2, when we get there, your ability to build rapport through a conversation that develops in a relationship. At the end, you get trust. Once you get trust, they put their guard down and they realize, they go, hey, listen, Sebastian, I realize you're not the best. You're not the highest offer, but you're the best offer. And that's all we try. That's the fundamental difference in what we do. I never want the postcard to close anyone. It's like people, like, there's not much on your postcard. To go, why? The intrigue's right here. You have to leave a mystery. You have to leave a call to action. But listen, let me come out there and I'll show you how we can get this done. And most people, blah, 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 let me tell you what I can buy it for. Da, 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 da. You're purely transactional. So postcard's the difference maker. And then you building a relationship is what's going to separate you from you and the entire competition, because you build trust and you go like, I've had 4 guys out here, but like, you seem the most sincere because you're going to be your authentic self. That's it.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you,
Let me know
guys.
if you need any help, man.
Keep it up, and
Sounds good.
let me know when that closes, man. Congrats.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. See you guys.
Appreciate it. Guys, there's some big changes going on in the wholesaling real estate game, and they're all good. Guys, don't be listening to fear-mongering, the scariness. This is all stuff focused away from you making money. Make some money, get some deals. Guys, this is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
You should go to wholesaling.com.